You've been told your whole life that being kind will get you ahead. That loyalty, honesty, and playing fair will earn you respect. But deep down, you've seen the truth. The people who win aren't the nicest. They're the smartest. While you give, they take. While you hesitate, they act. While you try to please, they move past you. And yet, you keep asking yourself, why do I feel invisible? Why do I get overlooked while others with less talent, less heart, rise higher than me? That's the pain no one admits. The silent frustration of watching the ruthless succeed while the good struggle. Here's the harsh reality. The world isn't built for nice guys. It's built for those who understand power. And 5 centuries ago, one man revealed the brutal book everyone else is still too afraid to talk about. Niccolò Machiavelli. This video isn't about becoming cruel. It's about opening your eyes. It's about learning the strategies hidden in the prince. A dark roadmap that will finally show you how to win when everyone else fails. Because power isn't given, it's taken. And this is how. The illusion of fairness and why nice guys lose. The world tells you from childhood that fairness is the foundation of human life. Teachers say it in classrooms. Parents reinforce it at the dinner table. Movies and books tell you that the hero who plays fair always wins in the end. And you believed it. You carried that belief like a shield, trusting that honesty, loyalty, and kindness would be the things that elevate you. But as you grow older, reality hits. The shield doesn't protect you. It weighs you down. You start to notice that promotions don't go to the hardest worker. Recognition doesn't go to the most loyal. The rewards of life rarely fall into the hands of the good. Instead, you see the cunning, the bold, the ruthless. People who are not smarter or better than you, rising above, while you remain stuck wondering what invisible rule you keep breaking. The truth is simple. Fairness is a myth. It's a story told to keep you tame. The world doesn't operate on fairness. It operates on power, and power has never cared about good intentions. Think about the nice guy, the one who never says no, who bends over backward to please others, who sacrifices his own needs for the comfort of everyone else. What happens to him? He's ignored, overlooked, taken advantage of, and eventually resents the very people he tried to please. His kindness becomes his cage. The painful truth is that nice guys lose because they confuse morality with strategy. They believe playing fair guarantees victory, when in fact, fairness is often the strategy of the weak to restrain the strong. Morality is a leash, and most people willingly wear it, proud of their obedience, while secretly resenting those who break free. History shows this again and again. Kingdoms aren't won by kindness. Companies aren't built by fairness. Empires don't rise because leaders played nice. They rise because their leaders understood power, and they had the coldness to use it when others hesitated. This is the exact wound that Niccolò Machiavelli pressed his finger into when he wrote The Prince. He knew the frustration of men who believed in fairness, who tried to rule with morality, only to be crushed by those willing to manipulate, betray, and seize control without hesitation. Machiavelli's genius was not in creating cruelty, but in revealing the reality that everyone else tried to hide. Look closely at your own life. How many times have you seen someone less talented than you get chosen over you? How many times have you seen loyalty rewarded with betrayal? How many times have you watched people gain advantages not by being good, but by being bold, by bending the truth, by controlling the image they present? And yet, you keep telling yourself to just work harder or be more patient. You cling to the illusion that fairness will eventually pay off, even though the evidence screams otherwise. This illusion is powerful because it feels safe. It makes you believe the world has rules. But the prince tears that comfort apart. Machiavelli makes it clear that the rules you think exist are nothing but decorations. Masks people wear to disguise the ruthless game underneath. The nice guy is trapped because he doesn't see the game. He believes everyone is playing honestly. He believes kindness is currency. But in the arena of power, kindness has no value unless it is weaponized. And weaponized kindness is not kindness at all. It is strategy. Machiavelli would say, if you want to stop being overlooked, stop clinging to illusions. You must begin to see the world not as you wish it to be, but as it truly is. And the truth is brutal. Humans are selfish, power-hungry, and easily swayed by appearances. They respect strength, not fairness. They follow confidence, not kindness. They obey fear, not love. This is why nice guys lose. They place love above fear, honesty above deception, loyalty above self-preservation. And while those virtues sound noble, they are not effective. In the real world, effectiveness is survival. Ineffectiveness is death. But here's the deeper wound. Most people know this on some level. They've felt the sting of being betrayed, used, or passed over. They've seen others climb by doing the very things they've been told not to do. Yet, they keep clinging to the belief that one day their goodness will be rewarded. Why? Because admitting the truth means rewriting the story of their entire life. It means admitting that everything they've been told by parents, teachers, leaders, even religion, was designed not to make them powerful, but to make them obedient. This obedience is what Machiavelli rips apart. He forces you to confront the uncomfortable fact that you've been trained to be weak, that your loyalty makes you expendable, that your kindness makes you predictable, that your morality makes you exploitable. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The world is a battlefield. Every interaction is negotiation. Every relationship is a struggle for influence. Every choice reveals whether you are gaining ground or losing it. Pretending it's not a battlefield doesn't protect you. It just makes you an easy target. This is why Machiavelli's book remains so dangerous even after 500 years. It doesn't teach cruelty. It teaches clarity. It teaches you to see what's really happening, stripped of illusions. And when you see it, you are faced with a choice. Remain the nice guy, chained to ideals that only serve others, or step into the realm of power where you finally stop being prey. Think of the people who frustrate you the most. The ones who never seem to work as hard as you, yet always come out ahead. The coworker who gets promoted despite doing less. The competitor who plays dirty and wins anyway. The leader who betrays and still commands loyalty. You hate them, but deep down you envy them, because they are living proof that the game doesn't reward goodness. It rewards power. This is the starting point of the prince. It doesn't ask you to like it. It doesn't ask you to agree with it. It asks you to stop lying to yourself. Because until you admit the game is real, you can't learn to play it. In this roadmap, the first step is destruction, the destruction of illusions. You cannot build strength on lies. You cannot claim power while still clinging to the fantasy that the world will eventually notice your goodness. Nobody cares. Power cares only for results. And once you embrace that, you begin to change. Your kindness becomes strategic. Your words become tools. Your silence becomes power. Your presence becomes influence. You stop being the invisible nice guy, and you begin to step into the arena where decisions are made, where influence is shaped, where control is seized. This is not about becoming cruel for cruelty's sake. It's about survival. It's about taking off the blindfold so you no longer walk willingly into traps. It's about refusing to be the one who gives endlessly and receives nothing. The Prince is not a book for dreamers. It is a book for those willing to wake up. And waking up is painful. It means accepting that the world you believed in does not exist. But once you accept it, you unlock the ability to finally navigate reality as it is. And that is where power begins. Machiavelli knew that people would hate his words. He knew they would call him evil, cynical, even demonic. But he also knew that those same people secretly used his principles. The ones who condemned him the loudest were often the ones applying his tactics in silence. Because power doesn't care about morality, cares about winning, and that is the brutal lesson. Nice guys lose not because they are too kind, but because they refuse to see the truth. They cling to illusions while others weaponize reality. And until you're willing to shed those illusions, you will remain where you are, overlooked, invisible, expendable. But the moment you strip them away, the world changes. You start to see patterns in people's behavior. You start to notice their weakness, their desires, their fears. You begin to understand how they can be influenced, guided, even controlled. And suddenly, the power you thought belonged only to the ruthless is now within your grasp. That is the beginning of the dark roadmap. It doesn't start with tactics. It starts with clarity. The clarity that fairness is a story, that kindness without power is weakness, and that illusions are chains. Break them and you are no longer prey. Machiavelli's world and why the prince still matters. Niccolò Machiavelli lived in a time when power wasn't an abstract idea, it was life or death. The Renaissance wasn't the romantic painting you see in museums. It was warlords, shifting alliances, betrayals, executions, and the constant rise and fall of rulers. Cities weren't just cultural centers. They were battlegrounds where one wrong move could erase your family name forever. Machiavelli saw this up close in Florence. He watched leaders rise on promises of morality and fall under the weight of their own ideals. He saw kingdoms crushed not by stronger armies, but by weaker leaders who hesitated when boldness was required. He lived in a world where being good wasn't just ineffective, it was dangerous. That's why he wrote The Prince. Not as philosophy, not as wishful thinking, but as a survival manual. He wasn't theorizing about how people should behave. He was documenting how they do behave. And he understood that most men are driven by fear, greed, ambition, and insecurity. Pretending otherwise was suicide. This is what makes The Prince timeless. The details of power may change. Kings are replaced by CEOs, knights by politicians, armies by corporations, but the underlying game hasn't. Humans haven't evolved past ambition. They haven't evolved past fear. They haven't evolved past the desire to dominate, to win, to control. Look around today. The modern workplace is just as cutthroat as a Renaissance court. Office politics are battles for influence. Corporate betrayals echo the schemes of princes. Leaders project images of morality, fairness, and integrity, while behind closed doors, they make ruthless decisions to protect their positions. The stage has changed, but the play is the same. Machiavelli's brilliance was stripping away the illusions. He dared to say what everyone knew but feared to admit. People are selfish, loyalty is fragile, appearances matter more than truth, and fear often secures obedience better than love. These were not moral lessons. They were weapons, and that's why his book was considered dangerous. It told the powerless exactly why they were powerless. It gave them a mirror that revealed the lies they lived under. It showed them that morality, as preached by rulers, was often a disguise for manipulation. But here's the paradox. The Prince is hated not because it's false, but because it's true. People despise Machiavelli because he exposed the game. They want to believe in fairness, in goodness, in a world where kindness is rewarded. Machiavelli rips that comfort away and says, "No, if you want to survive, if you want to win, here is the reality you must face." This is why his words sting even today. We like to think we are more civilized now, that society has evolved beyond ruthless survival. But scratch the surface and you'll see the same forces driving human behavior. Leaders rise not because they are the most moral, but because they control perception. Companies dominate not because they are the most ethical, but because they outmaneuver competition. Nations hold power not because they are just, but because they project fear and strength. Machiavelli understood something fundamental. Humans are predictable. They crave security. They admire strength. They fear punishment. They want to believe in appearances, even if those appearances are lies. And the person who understands these truths holds power over those who deny them. That is why the Prince matters today more than ever. In a world where appearances are everything, curated social media lives, political branding, corporate values, Machiavelli's insights cut to the bone. He reminds you that behind every smile is ambition, behind every speech is strategy, behind every promise is self-interest. But most people don't want to accept that. They cling to illusions. They prefer the comfort of lies over the discomfort of truth. They want to believe their leaders care, that their bosses are fair, that relationships are built only on love and trust. And while they sleep in those illusions, those who understand power, those who apply Machiavelli's principles, move ahead. Machiavelli forces you to wake up. He doesn't tell you to abandon morality altogether. He tells you to separate morality from power. He tells you that if you want to survive in the arena of power, You cannot rely on ideals that others don't follow. You must learn to play the game on its actual terms, not the terms you wish existed. This is why the book is called dangerous, because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you understand that kindness can be a mask, that loyalty can be bought, that appearances matter more than reality, you begin to look at the world differently. The illusions lose their grip. You begin to notice the manipulation in every interaction. You begin to see the power plays hidden behind smiles. And once you see it, you have a choice. Remain naive or step into the game. Machiavelli knew that most people would rather stay naive. It's easier. It's safer. It feels better to believe in morality. But those who embrace the truth, those who dare to look the world in the eye without flinching, gain an advantage that can't be taken from them. That is the enduring power of the prince. It doesn't just describe politics of the Renaissance. It describes politics of human nature, and human nature has not changed. Consider this: in every office there is a Machiavellian figure. The one who doesn't just work hard but positions himself strategically. The one who builds alliances not out of friendship, but out of necessity. The one who understands that appearances of competence often matter more than competence itself. That person rises, while the moral purists grumble about unfairness. In every relationship, there is a dynamic of power. Who gives more, who controls the pace, who has more to lose? The one who understands this dynamic, whether consciously or instinctively, often controls the direction of the relationship. The one who ignores it often ends up hurt, discarded, or manipulated. In every society, power operates the same way. Nations project morality when it serves their purpose, and abandon it when it doesn't. Corporations preach values but exploit loopholes to gain profit. Leaders speak of justice while pulling strings in the shadows. The illusion of morality is maintained because people want it maintained. But underneath, the reality Machiavelli described remains unchanged. So why does the prince still matter? Because it tells you what nobody else will. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't comfort you. It tells you the truth you already know deep down but don't want to admit. Power rules the world. And if you want to stop being a pawn, you must learn how power works. Machiavelli's world may have been filled with swords and kingdoms, but ours is filled with contracts, corporations, and politics. The weapons have changed, but the game hasn't. The rules remain the same. Fear, appearances, manipulation, boldness, deception, strategy. These are the tools of those who rise, and those who refuse to use them remain chained to illusions. This is why the prince is not a relic of the past. It is a mirror held up to the present. It forces you to ask, do you want to keep living under illusions, hoping fairness will save you? Or do you want to learn the game and finally stop being prey? Fear versus love, the first core principle of power. Every leader, every ruler, every person in a position of influence faces one unavoidable question. Is it better to be loved or to be feared? It sounds like a moral question, but Machiavelli makes it clear. It is not. It's a question of survival. Because whether you like it or not, power rests on one thing: control. And control comes from understanding what actually moves people, not what should move them. Most people would like to believe that love is stronger, that loyalty born from affection is deeper and more lasting than obedience born from fear. It feels good to think that way, and it makes for comforting stories. But Machiavelli saw reality differently. He watched leaders fall because they tried to be loved. He saw kingdoms crumble because rulers placed trust in affection. And he concluded that, if you must choose between the two, it is safer to be feared than loved. Why? Because love is fragile. Love depends on conditions. Love is given when things are going well, when people feel secure, when there is no cost to loyalty. But when times turn hard, when survival is on the line, love collapses. People abandon the leader they claimed to adore the moment their own interests are threatened. Love is dependent on people's emotions, and emotions are unreliable, shifting like the wind. Fear, on the other hand, is consistent. Fear doesn't vanish when circumstances change. Fear doesn't weaken when times are hard. Fear compels obedience even when loyalty falters. When people fear consequences, they act. They may not admire you, they may not love you, but they will obey you, and obedience is the foundation of power. This doesn't mean cruelty for cruelty's sake. Machiavelli never argued that rulers should be monstrous tyrants who crush their people into misery. He was not glorifying sadism. He was pointing out that fear is a stronger and more reliable foundation for control than love. A ruler who depends only on love is at the mercy of people's shifting moods. A ruler who builds on fear creates stability. Think about your own life. How many people love you when it costs them nothing? How many stay loyal only when it's convenient? And how quickly does that love fade when being close to you becomes difficult, costly, or dangerous? Contrast that with fear. If someone knows there will be consequences for betraying you, that knowledge holds even when love fades. Fear doesn't require goodwill. It requires respect. And respect is the soil in which power grows. This is why nice guys lose. Nice guys think love is enough. They think being generous, kind, and selfless will create unshakable bonds. But what they don't understand is that people's affection is conditional. People will take advantage of generosity without hesitation and abandon the moment it no longer serves them. Love cannot guarantee loyalty, but fear can guarantee caution. In the workplace, this plays out every day. Managers who try to be loved by everyone are often ignored, undermined, or walked over. Their employees smile to their face but disregard their authority. Contrast that with the leader who enforces boundaries, who makes it clear that failure or disloyalty has consequences. That leader may not be adored, but they are respected. Their authority holds. In relationships, the principle is no less true. The person who tries to be endlessly accommodating, endlessly pleasing, endlessly available, becomes less respected over time. Their partner may love them at first, but without boundaries, without the possibility of consequences, love turns into contempt. Compare that to the partner who sets clear standards, who demands respect, who creates the possibility of loss if boundaries are crossed. That partner may not always be loved in the softest sense, but they are valued, respected, and rarely abandoned without thought. Machiavelli's wisdom is brutal because it refuses to flatter human nature. People are selfish. They are loyal only to their own survival and comfort. They love when it's easy. They betray when it's convenient. To build power on such unstable ground is to build on sand. But fear of consequence, fear of punishment, fear of loss, binds stronger than affection. It doesn't vanish when times are hard. This doesn't mean you must eliminate love entirely. Machiavelli never said love was useless. In fact, the most powerful leaders are those who master both, who inspire loyalty through admiration but enforce obedience through fear. Love is a luxury. Fear is insurance. Love draws people closer, but fear ensures they don't betray. When the two are combined, power becomes nearly unshakable. But if forced to choose between them, Machiavelli's answer is clear: choose fear. Because love may vanish in an instant, fear remains. Modern culture resists this truth. We are told to seek love, to give love, to lead with love. Sounds noble, but it leaves you vulnerable. Leaders who only seek love end up as victims of betrayal. Workers who only seek love from colleagues end up taken advantage of. Partners who only seek love without respect end up abandoned. Fear is the anchor, keeps people bound when love evaporates. That is the essence of power. Look at history. The rulers who lasted longest were rarely the most loved. They were often the most respected, sometimes even feared. The Roman emperors who inspired fear secured loyalty from legions. The generals who disciplined through fear ensured their soldiers didn't break in battle. The kings who punished betrayal ensured that loyalty endured. Love could waver, but fear kept the structure intact. Now, consider this in your own life. Have you built yourself on love or fear? Do people respect you because they know betrayal has a cost? Or do they merely like you because you make life easy for them? Do they admire your strength? Or do they take advantage of your kindness? If your life feels like a pattern of being overlooked, betrayed, or undervalued, it may be because you've been trying to build on love without fear. You've relied on affection without consequence. And people instinctively exploit that weakness. This is not about becoming cruel. It's about becoming dangerous in the right way. It's about ensuring that people know, consciously or unconsciously, that disrespect has a cost, that betrayal has a price, that loyalty is rewarded but disloyalty is punished. When people sense this in you, they may not always love you in the soft sense. But they will not forget you. They will not ignore you. They will respect you. And respect is the essence of power. Fear creates boundaries. Boundaries create respect. Respect creates power. And with power, even love becomes more authentic, because it is no longer just affection based on convenience. It is admiration born from strength. This is why Machiavelli is so hated. He refused to tell people what they wanted to hear. He told them the truth. If you want to survive, if you want to lead, if you want to hold power, do not build only on love. Build on fear, because fear endures when love is gone. This lesson applies whether you're leading nations, companies, or your own life. And until you embrace it, you remain at the mercy of people's fleeting emotions. Love is beautiful. Fear is effective. And in the arena of power, effectiveness is everything. Deception, manipulation, and controlling appearances. If there is one theme that runs like a dark vein through The Prince, it is this: power is not about truth. Power is about perception. People believe they live in a world where honesty, integrity, and transparency rule. They tell themselves stories about fairness and justice. They want to believe leaders succeed because they are good, moral, and upright. But Machiavelli cuts through this illusion with a razor. The world runs not on truth, but on appearances. The powerful understand this. The weak do not. Most people crave simplicity. They want to believe what they see. They don't question deeply, because questioning demands energy. They are satisfied with surface impressions, with symbols, with stories that soothe their minds. And that is exactly why the one who controls appearances controls people. Machiavelli argues that rulers should appear to be virtuous, generous, merciful, and just, but only appear. Behind the curtain, they must be ruthless, calculating, and willing to betray those same virtues when survival demands it. To truly embody virtue is dangerous. To appear virtuous is power. Think about it. A leader who is truly merciful, who refuses to punish betrayal, is destroyed by opportunists. A leader who is truly generous, who gives without restraint, is bled dry. A leader who is truly honest in every word is easy prey for manipulators. But a leader who appears merciful when it benefits him, generous when it wins allies, and honest when it strengthens his image, while secretly holding the capacity for cruelty, restraint, and deception, that leader is untouchable. Machiavelli makes it blunt. People judge by appearances. They see what you show them, not who you are. And because of this, the wise ruler never wastes energy trying to be good in reality. He focuses on looking good, while being prepared to do evil when necessary. This truth terrifies people because it shatters the moral illusion. It tells us that the smiling politician is often hiding a knife. The kind leader is playing a role. The philanthropist might be using generosity as a weapon to secure loyalty. The priest may speak of purity while chasing influence. What matters is not virtue itself, but the ability to project it convincingly. Here lies the paradox. The public wants virtue but rewards power. They admire morality but obey strength. They are comforted by appearances, not reality. And so the one who wishes to win must master the art of manipulation. Deception is not about lies alone. It is about constructing an image that commands trust, respect, and admiration, even if it is hollow. It is about presenting yourself as someone who embodies the values people want, while holding in reserve the ruthlessness required to survive. Consider history. Kings spoke of divine right while crushing rivals in blood. Generals spoke of honor while using deception to trap enemies. Politicians spoke of justice while bending laws for advantage. Those who survived did so because they understood that morality is a costume, and costumes control the crowd. And it's not just rulers. You see it in everyday life. The coworker who looks like the most dedicated team player, but secretly undermines others to rise. The friend who appears endlessly supportive, but manipulates subtly to keep control. The partner who seems selfless but hides motives beneath affection. All of them rely on one principle: people believe what they see, and most will never look deeper. Machiavelli's advice is merciless. If you wish to endure, learn to play the role. You don't have to be merciful, you have to appear merciful. You don't have to be generous, you have to appear generous. You don't have to be honest, you have to appear honest. But behind that mask, you must be willing to do whatever survival requires. Because those who refuse to wear the mask are destroyed by those who do. This is where nice guys fail again. They believe appearances should reflect reality. They think being genuinely good will earn respect. They don't understand that most people don't care about genuine goodness. They care about what they perceive. And when appearances and reality collide, appearances win. The powerful play the game differently. They craft their image carefully, feeding people the signals they want to believe. They know that morality is a costume, and they wear it like armor. They speak of kindness while wielding cruelty. They promise loyalty while plotting betrayal. They show generosity while calculating every coin. To the outside world, they appear admirable. To those who see behind the mask, they are terrifying. Ask yourself, how much of the world you believe is real is nothing more than appearance? How many people in power do you trust because they look trustworthy? How many promises have you believed because they sounded moral? How many good men or women have won your loyalty only to use it against you? This is the game Machiavelli exposes. The game of deception. The ruler is an actor, and the world is his audience. To survive, you must learn the role. To thrive, you must master it. But let's be clear, deception is not lying for no reason. It is not trickery for sport. It is strategy. Every appearance must serve a purpose. Every mask must hide something calculated. Every false virtue must protect or advance power. Random deceit destroys credibility. Calculated deceit secures authority. Think of it like chess. The weak player shows all their moves openly. The strong player conceals intent, sacrifices pawns, lures the opponent into traps. The board is the same. The pieces are the same. But the one who hides his real strategy wins. That is the essence of manipulation. Machiavelli's brilliance lies in refusing to confuse morality with survival. He knew that appearances are the real currency. People judge what they see, not what is. And if you master that, you control the game. So what does this mean for you? It means you must begin seeing the world not as it claims to be, but as it is. It means understanding that morality is often a performance, that goodness is often a tool, that people believe what they want to believe, and the powerful feed them those illusions. It means realizing that if you want to rise, you cannot simply be good. You must be strategic. You must learn to control the story others tell about you. Because in the end, people follow appearances, not reality. They trust the mask, not the man. And if you control the mask, you control them. This is the second law of Machiavelli's dark roadmap. Never be what you appear. Appear virtuous. Be ruthless. Appear generous. Be calculating. Appear honest. Be strategic. The world crowns actors, not saints. And until you learn to play your role, you remain a spectator in the theater of power. The shadow of morality, why morality is weaponized. Morality is supposed to be the compass that guides humanity. It's the code that separates us from beasts, the invisible set of rules telling us what is right and wrong. People cling to it because it gives them comfort, the belief that life is fair, that good will be rewarded and evil punished. But Machiavelli shattered this illusion. He showed that morality is not a shield protecting the weak. It is a weapon wielded by the powerful. And those who cling to morality as an absolute truth often find themselves crushed beneath it. Let's start with a simple truth. Morality is subjective. What one culture calls justice, another calls cruelty. What one group calls freedom, another calls rebellion. What one generation calls honor, another calls oppression. Morality shifts with time, with power, with perspective. And yet, people cling to it as though it were eternal. This is where the powerful strike. They understand morality is not fixed. It can be rewritten, reinterpreted, reshaped to suit the moment. Kings, priests, politicians, and rulers throughout history have used morality as a mask, a set of rules they enforce not because they believe in them, but because those rules keep others in line. Look at history. Religious leaders declared wars of righteousness not for salvation, but for land and gold. Empires spoke of bringing civilization to the world while enslaving nations. Politicians invoke justice to pass laws that consolidate control. The language of morality is almost never about morality itself. It is about power. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He warned that rulers must not be enslaved by moral codes. Instead, they must see morality as a tool, something to invoke when useful and to discard when dangerous. If being merciful strengthens your rule, then show mercy. If cruelty protects your state, then be cruel. If honesty wins trust, speak truth. If lies preserve power, then lie. For Machiavelli, morality is not a virtue. It is strategy. This is where ordinary people fail. They think morality is absolute, and they cling to it even when it destroys them. The loyal servant who refuses to betray a corrupt master ends up in chains. The honest worker who refuses to bend the truth is outmaneuvered by cunning colleagues. The good leader who refuses to be cruel when necessary is devoured by rivals. They believe morality will save them. It doesn't. Why? Because morality is a story, and stories are controlled by those who write them. The powerful weaponize morality to control the weak. They say, you must be obedient because obedience is good. They say, you must sacrifice because sacrifice is noble. They say, you must forgive because forgiveness is holy. Meanwhile, they themselves break these same rules the moment it serves their survival. The masses follow the script, while the rulers write a new one. Think of a ruler who preaches sacrifice to the people while living in luxury. Think of corporations telling workers to act like family, while cutting jobs for profit. Think of governments speaking of freedom while expanding surveillance. These contradictions are not mistakes. They are strategy. Morality is used to pacify the many while the few operate without restriction. And yet, if you try to expose this hypocrisy, most people will resist. Why? Because morality is not just rules, it is emotional. People are deeply attached to their moral beliefs. They need them to feel safe, to believe the world has order. To admit morality is flexible, that it is a tool, is to admit life is chaotic and unfair. Most people cannot face this, so they defend the illusion even when it chains them. Machiavelli tells us, don't be trapped by this. Don't be the one who clings to morality like a drowning man clings to a stone. See morality for what it is, a weapon, a costume, a tool. Use it when it suits your strategy. Discard it when it does not. This doesn't mean you must be openly immoral. That would be suicidal. People hate those who rip away their illusions. If you openly mock morality, they will destroy you. Instead, you must respect the illusion, play along with it, appear to uphold it even as you bend it behind the scenes. That is why appearances matter more than reality. You must look moral while secretly doing whatever is necessary. This is the shadow of morality. It blinds the masses but empowers the few. And if you are to win, you must step into that shadow, not hide from it. Think of it like this: morality is a theater. The stage is for the people, the speech is about justice, kindness, faith, equality. The audience eats it up because they want to believe. But behind the curtain, in the shadows, the real game is played. Deals are cut, betrayals are plotted, and power is secured. The wise know this. The fools do not. And here lies the brutal truth. The world does not reward morality. The world rewards strength disguised as morality. Those who cling to pure goodness are often destroyed by those who wield goodness as a mask. Machiavelli's advice is cruel, but clear. Learn to use morality as a weapon. Preach it when it wins you loyalty. Break it when it threatens your survival. Invoke it to calm the people. Abandon it to crush your enemies. This lesson is hard to accept because it forces you to see human behavior as it is, not as you wish it to be. It strips away the comforting illusion that good always wins. But the moment you see it, you cannot unsee it. You realize morality is not a shield. It is a sword. So ask yourself, are you living by morality, or are you being controlled by it? Do you follow rules that others break? Do you cling to codes that others exploit? Do you sacrifice while others feast? So you are not moral. You are prey. Machiavelli demands a choice. Either remain blind and cling to morality as an absolute, or step into the shadows and see it as it truly is, a weapon, a tool, a mask. Because in the end, morality is not about good or evil. It is about power. And power, not morality, decides who survives. Strategy in survival. Striking first, alliances and betrayal. Power is not maintained by chance. It is not a gift, nor a prize handed out for good behavior. Power is seized, defended, and expanded through strategy. And strategy, as Machiavelli reminds us, is rarely clean. When survival is on the line, when your position is threatened, you cannot rely on fairness. You cannot sit back and hope others will act with mercy. The truth is brutal. The ones who wait are devoured. Those who hesitate are betrayed. Those who cling to trust without caution are destroyed. The world belongs to those who strike first, manage alliances with precision, and betray when the moment demands it. Let's begin with the first law of survival. Strike before you are struck. Human beings often deceive themselves into thinking patience will protect them. They say, if I keep quiet, if I stay in my lane, if I avoid conflict, maybe I'll be safe. But silence does not protect you. Inaction does not protect you. It only makes you an easier target. History proves this. The rulers who fell were often those who waited too long. They saw threats rising, but they hesitated. They wanted certainty, proof, a good reason to act. By the time they moved, it was too late. Their enemies had already taken the initiative. Machiavelli teaches that hesitation is fatal. When danger appears on the horizon, don't wait for it to grow. Crush it while it is still small. If a rival begins to gain influence, undermine them before they become too powerful. If whispers of rebellion arise, silence them before they turn into shouts. Acting early may look cruel, but delay is far crueler, because it allows your enemy to strengthen. This is why striking first is not just aggression. It is survival. But striking first is only one side of the strategy. The second is mastering alliances. Most people imagine alliances as bonds of loyalty, friendship, or shared values. They think allies are people who will stand beside them no matter what. That is a dangerous illusion. Alliances, in reality, are temporary contracts built on interest, not sentiment. An ally is with you only as long as it benefits them. The moment your downfall serves their survival or growth, they will abandon you. This is not cynicism. It is reality. Look through history and you'll see it everywhere. Kingdoms turning on their closest partners, business partners betraying each other, friends stepping aside when loyalty becomes costly. Machiavelli's advice is simple. Use alliances, but never trust them completely. Form them when they give you strength. Break them the moment they become a weakness. Expect betrayal, so when it comes, you are not surprised. And always make sure your allies need you more than you need them. If you are indispensable, they will cling to you. If you are optional, they will discard you. Now we come to the darkest, most dangerous part of strategy. Betrayal. The word itself is poison. No one likes to imagine themselves as a betrayer. Society teaches us betrayal is the ultimate sin, a breaking of trust that marks someone as irredeemable. But Machiavelli strips away this illusion. He shows us that betrayal is not an exception in human behavior. It is the rule. Think of betrayal not as random treachery, but as the moment when someone decides their survival or ambition matters more than loyalty. Everyone has a price, whether it's fear, desire, or necessity. The wise understand this. They know loyalty is fragile, so they prepare for its collapse. More importantly, the wise also know when to betray. Because here is the cruel truth. Betrayal is sometimes necessary to win. If an alliance binds you to weakness, cut it. If loyalty drags you down with a sinking partner, abandon it. If promises hold you back from victory, break them. Does this make you untrustworthy? Perhaps. But ask yourself, is it better to be trustworthy and powerless, or untrustworthy and alive? Machiavelli would say this: keep your promises when it benefits you, break them when it doesn't. People will hate you if they discover it, yes. But if you are powerful, they will have no choice but to respect you. And if you play the game skillfully, you can betray while still appearing loyal. This is the heart of Machiavellian survival strategy. Act in ways others fear, but appear in ways they admire. Strike first, but frame it as protection. Break alliances, but blame the other side. Betray, but mask it with justification. People may despise betrayal, but they accept it when dressed in the right costume. Consider how rulers throughout history betrayed allies yet justified their actions as necessary for the greater good. They betrayed not in silence, but with speeches of righteousness. And the people, desperate to cling to the illusion of morality, believed them. So how do you practice this in your own life? Start by recognizing potential threats early. Don't ignore the signs of rivalry, envy, or ambition in those around you. People rarely attack out of nowhere. They prepare, they test boundaries, they reveal hints of discontent. If you see it, act before it grows. Next, treat alliances as tools, not eternal bonds. Be cautious in choosing partners. Don't tie yourself too tightly to anyone. Keep your independence so you can walk away if needed. And always ensure your allies depend on your strength. Finally, train yourself to betray without guilt when survival demands it. Do not let sentiment drag you into ruin. Betray with calculation, not emotion. And when you do, cloak it with justification so others see it not as betrayal, but as necessity. It is not easy to live this way. It requires vigilance, courage, and the willingness to be hated. But the alternative, naivety, blind loyalty, hesitation, is far worse. It is to be prey in a world of predators. Machiavelli offers no comforting lies. He does not promise safety to those who wait, nor honor to those who stay loyal to the end. He offers only clarity. The world belongs to those who strike first, master alliances, and betray when it serves survival. Everyone else is food. This is the brutal truth. In the game of power, you are either the one who strikes or the one struck, the betrayer or the betrayed, the ruler or the victim. Strategy is the line between survival and destruction. And if you refuse to play, someone else will play it against you. Power maintenance. Once you win, how not to lose. Winning power is only half the battle. In fact, it's the easier half. The harder task is keeping it. History is littered with people who fought their way to the top but couldn't hold on. They tasted victory only to have it ripped from their hands. They thought their enemies were gone, their struggles finished, but they failed to realize a darker truth. The moment you win, you create more enemies than ever before. Every step upward leaves someone beneath you. Every advantage you claim sparks envy in those who lack it. Every victory makes you a target. That is the paradox of power. The higher you climb, the more fragile your position becomes. Machiavelli was ruthless in pointing this out. He warned that victory blinds rulers. They think the war is over once they seize power. But in reality, the war has only shifted from the struggle to rise to the struggle to remain. And this struggle requires a different kind of strength. Not the bold strikes of ambition, but the careful vigilance of maintenance. So how do you hold power once you win it? Rule 1. Do not relax. The greatest danger after victory is relaxation. Most people crave it. They fight, they sacrifice, they endure hardship to climb the ladder. And when they finally reach the top, they sigh with relief. They imagine they can rest, enjoy the fruits of success, and loosen their grip. That is the first step to losing everything. The moment you relax, your rivals begin circling. They see your guard lowered. They whisper, they plot, they gather allies. By the time you notice, their blades are already at your throat. Power is a fire. It burns bright only as long as you feed it. Stop feeding it and it dies. So the first law of maintenance is this. Never stop moving, never stop watching, never stop acting. Victory is not an end. It is a constant state of defense. Rule 2. Control the narrative. Power does not exist in silence. It exists in perception. People follow not only strength, but the story told about strength. If you allow others to control the narrative, your image will rot. Rivals will spread doubts, enemies will highlight your flaws, and the people will begin to believe you are weak or corrupt. And once perception shifts, reality follows. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He knew rulers could not afford to simply be powerful. They had to appear powerful, righteous, and inevitable. Appearances matter more than truth, so you must master the narrative. Shape the story people believe about you. Hide your weaknesses, exaggerate your victories, justify your actions. Even cruelty can be forgiven if wrapped in the language of necessity. Even betrayal can be excused if framed as protection. This is not deception for its own sake. It is survival. The masses judge not by facts, but by appearances. Control what they see, and you control their obedience. Rule 3. Balance fear and love. Earlier, Machiavelli made clear it is safer to be feared than loved. But maintaining power requires balance. If you rely on fear alone, people will eventually rise against you. They will wait for the moment when your power falters, and then they will tear you down with vengeance. If you rely only on love, they will abandon you when fear of stronger rulers outweighs their affection. So the wise ruler mixes both. Be feared enough that disobedience seems suicidal. Be loved enough that loyalty feels rewarding. Strike terror when necessary, but balance it with calculated generosity. Think of fear and love as weights on a scale. Too much on either side and the balance collapses. But hold them in tension and you create stability. Rule 4. Eliminate threats completely. Weak rulers make a fatal mistake. They half-crush their enemies. They punish but leave room for survival. They exile but do not kill. They humiliate but do not destroy. This is weakness disguised as mercy, and it always backfires. Those half-crushed enemies remember. They nurse their wounds in silence, waiting for the chance to strike back. And when the moment comes, they will strike with fury greater than before. The lesson is cruel but clear. When you move against an enemy, destroy them so thoroughly they cannot return. Leave nothing for them to rebuild. Eliminate not just the leader, but their influence, their alliances, their reputation. Only then are you truly safe. Mercy in power is often disguised cowardice. If you are going to strike, strike decisively. Rule 5. Divide and rule. Unity among your enemies is the greatest danger. Unity among your people can also become a threat if it turns against you. So the art of division is essential. Set rivals against each other. Feed their ambitions so they clash. Distract them with infighting so they have no energy to unite against you. Among the masses, encourage differences. Class, belief, ideology, use these fractures to your advantage. If they are busy fighting one another, they cannot rise against you. Division is not chaos. It is control. A ruler who masters division ensures no one force grows strong enough to topple them. Rule 6. Adapt without losing authority. The world changes. Circumstances shift. A ruler who clings rigidly to one style of rule is doomed. If you are too harsh in peaceful times, you breed resentment. If you are too soft in chaotic times, you invite rebellion. Power maintenance requires flexibility, the ability to adjust tactics while never appearing weak. This is the paradox. Change without looking like you changed. Adaptation must appear as strategy, not desperation. People must see your shifts as wisdom, not instability. Machiavelli himself praised rulers who could transform with the times. A lion when needed, a fox when required. But always a ruler, never a victim. Rule 7. Keep the people occupied. An idle population becomes dangerous. When people are bored, they start to think. And when they think, they question authority. The solution: keep them occupied. Give them tasks, wars, entertainment, distractions. Feed them with enough to survive, but not enough to grow independent. Provide just enough hope to quiet rebellion, but never so much that they stop needing you. Bread and spectacle, the ancient rulers knew this secret. Feed the stomach, distract the mind, and the people remain manageable. Rule 8. Never be predictable. Predictability is weakness. Once people know how you will act, they can plan against you. Rivals will anticipate your moves, allies will manipulate your habits, and enemies will trap you in expectations. So cultivate unpredictability. Keep others guessing. Surprise them with generosity when they expect cruelty, with ruthlessness when they expect mercy. Confuse their calculations. Uncertainty breeds caution. When people cannot predict you, they hesitate to cross you. Rule 9. Prepare for the next threat. Power maintenance is not about today. It is about tomorrow. Every decision you make should be measured against the future. Who benefits now may grow dangerous later. Who supports you now may become a rival. Every ally is a potential enemy. Every victory plants seeds of resistance. So you must always think ahead. Imagine not only what benefits you today, but what weakens you tomorrow. Plant defenses before threats appear. Eliminate dangers before they rise. The ruler who lives only in the present is already finished. The brutal truth. Once you win, you are never safe again. The battle for power is eternal. To relax is to die. To trust too much is to be betrayed. To hesitate is to be replaced. Machiavelli does not pretend this life is comfortable. It is exhausting, vigilant, paranoid. But it is the price of ruling. Those who cannot bear the weight should never seek power. Those who do seek it must accept the reality. Power is not a possession. It is a struggle, and it must be maintained every single day, or it will be stolen in an instant. This is the dark truth of winning at any cost. You can win, but you can never stop fighting. Power maintenance. Once you win, how not to lose. Winning power is only half the battle. In fact, it's the easier half. The harder task is keeping it. History is littered with people who fought their way to the top but couldn't hold on. They tasted victory only to have it ripped from their hands. They thought their enemies were gone, their struggles finished, but they failed to realize a darker truth. The moment you win, you create more enemies than ever before. Every step upward leaves someone beneath you. Every advantage you claim sparks envy in those who lack it. Every victory makes you a target. That is the paradox of power. The higher you climb, the more fragile your position becomes. Machiavelli was ruthless in pointing this out. He warned that victory blinds rulers. They think the war is over once they seize power. But in reality, the war has only shifted from the struggle to rise to the struggle to remain. And this struggle requires a different kind of strength. Not the bold strikes of ambition, but the careful vigilance of maintenance. So how do you hold power once you win it? Rule 1. Do not relax. The greatest danger after victory is relaxation. Most people crave it. They fight, they sacrifice, they endure hardship to climb the ladder. And when they finally reach the top, they sigh with relief. They imagine they can rest, enjoy the fruits of success, and loosen their grip. That is the first step to losing everything. The moment you relax, your rivals begin circling. They see your guard lowered. They whisper, they plot, they gather allies. By the time you notice, their blades are already at your throat. Power is a fire. It burns bright only as long as you feed it. Stop feeding it and it dies. So the first law of maintenance is this: never stop moving, never stop watching, never stop acting. Victory is not an end. It is a constant state of defense. Rule 2. Control the narrative. Power does not exist in silence. It exists in perception. People follow not only strength, but the story told about strength. If you allow others to control the narrative, your image will rot. Rivals will spread doubts, enemies will highlight your flaws, and the people will begin to believe you are weak or corrupt. And once perception shifts, reality follows. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He knew rulers could not afford to simply be powerful. They had to appear powerful, righteous, and inevitable. Appearances matter more than truth, so you must master the narrative. Shape the story people believe about you. Hide your weaknesses, exaggerate your victories, justify your actions. Even cruelty can be forgiven if wrapped in the language of necessity. Even betrayal can be excused if framed as protection. This is not deception for its own sake. It is survival. The masses judge not by facts, but by appearances. Control what they see, and you control their obedience. Rule 3. Balance fear and love. Earlier, Machiavelli made clear it is safer to be feared than loved. But maintaining power requires balance. If you rely on fear alone, people will eventually rise against you. They will wait for the moment when your power falters, and then they will tear you down with vengeance. If you rely only on love, they will abandon you when fear of stronger rulers outweighs their affection. So the wise ruler mixes both. Be feared enough that disobedience seems suicidal. Be loved enough that loyalty feels rewarding. Strike terror when necessary, but balance it with calculated generosity. Think of fear and love as weights on a scale. Too much on either side and the balance collapses. But hold them in tension and you create stability. Rule 4. Eliminate threats completely. Weak rulers make a fatal mistake. They half-crush their enemies. They punish but leave room for survival. They exile but do not kill. They humiliate but do not destroy. This is weakness disguised as mercy, and it always backfires. Those half-crushed enemies remember. They nurse their wounds in silence, waiting for the chance to strike back. And when the moment comes, they will strike with fury greater than before. The lesson is cruel but clear. When you move against an enemy, destroy them so thoroughly they cannot return. Leave nothing for them to rebuild. Eliminate not just the leader, but their influence, their alliances, their reputation. Only then are you truly safe. Mercy in power is often disguised cowardice. If you are going to strike, strike decisively. Rule 5. Divide and rule. Unity among your enemies is the greatest danger. Unity among your people can also become a threat if it turns against you. So the art of division is essential. Set rivals. Among the masses, encourage differences. Class, belief, ideology, use these fractures to your advantage. If they are busy fighting one another, they cannot rise against you. Division is not chaos. It is control. A ruler who masters division ensures no one force grows strong enough to topple them. Rule 6. Adapt without losing authority. The world changes. Circumstances shift. A ruler who clings rigidly to one style of rule is doomed. If you are too harsh in peaceful times, you breed resentment. If you are too soft in chaotic times, you invite rebellion. Power maintenance requires flexibility, the ability to adjust tactics while never appearing weak. This is the paradox. Change without looking like you changed. Adaptation must appear as strategy, not desperation. People must see your shifts as wisdom, not instability. Machiavelli himself praised rulers who could transform with the times. A lion when needed, a fox when required. But always a ruler, never a victim. Rule 7. Keep the people occupied. An idle population becomes dangerous. When people are bored, they start to think. And when they think, they question authority. The solution: keep them occupied. Give them tasks, wars, entertainment, distractions. Feed them with enough to survive, but not enough to grow independent. Provide just enough hope to quiet rebellion, but never so much that they stop needing you. Bread and spectacle, the ancient rulers knew this secret. Feed the stomach, distract the mind, and the people remain manageable. Rule 8. Never be predictable. Predictability is weakness. Once people know how you will act, they can plan against you. Rivals will anticipate your moves, allies will manipulate your habits, and enemies will trap you in expectations. So cultivate unpredictability. Keep others guessing. Surprise them with generosity when they expect cruelty, with ruthlessness when they expect mercy. Confuse their calculations. Uncertainty breeds caution. When people cannot predict you, they hesitate to cross you. Rule 9. Prepare for the next threat. Power maintenance is not about today. It is about tomorrow. Every decision you make should be measured against the future. Who benefits now may grow dangerous later. Who supports you now may become a rival. Every ally is a potential enemy. Every victory plants seeds of resistance. So you must always think ahead. Imagine not only what benefits you today, but what weakens you tomorrow. Plant defenses before threats appear. Eliminate dangers before they rise. The ruler who lives only in the present is already finished. The brutal truth. Once you win, you are never safe again. The battle for power is eternal. To relax is to die. To trust too much is to be betrayed. To hesitate is to be replaced. Machiavelli does not pretend this life is comfortable. It is exhausting, vigilant, paranoid. But it is the price of ruling. Those who cannot bear the weight should never seek power. Those who do seek it must accept the reality. Power is not a possession. It is a struggle, and it must be maintained every single day, or it will be stolen in an instant. This is the dark truth of winning at any cost. You can win, but you can never stop fighting.